getting into this first game of this grand final best of 5.
It's going to be a great game, and as you mentioned before, we still haven't seen anybody getting the reverse, not the reverse sweep, the 2 back-to-back best of 5 wins, getting that bracket reset in any of the days of these qualifiers. So we'll see what FlipSid can do to change that up, as Gale Force looking to go home with a strong win against FlipSid. Already K-Dub with a shot towards the net. Violent Panda following up right behind him. Still not enough to push back FlipSid. The beginning of this one. They do have possession on the other end, but having to back off is Mystic. UKO desperately tried to take that down the field. Turbo Pulsa. A chance on that one. Another touch by Violent Panda. Into the corner, dropping it down for K-Dub. So going for more passing plays, trying to disrupt that defense and break right past the double commit we saw there. It's still not enough to get it past them.
Gale Force is putting on a clinic on the offensive side here. The full first minute has all been on the Gale Force side of the, rather on the FlipSid side of the field, as Gale Force has been super aggressive here, but FlipSid Tactics need to learn how to consistently clear this away. They can do it every once in a while, but opening themselves up for offensive opportunities is a tough task.
Well, it's not even just clearing it away a lot. We've seen them throw it back at Gale Force a few times. They need to hold on to it like UKO is right now. He tried to fake out both those defenders, not get in a bad position, give it up to his teammates who might have been able to counter that. Still wasn't the greatest angle for that, as there's plenty of coverage there for Gale Force. Did get a demo to help them out a little bit on the defensive end. As Violent Panda will take that forward. Cuxer is going to hit that to his teammate who got there first and the shot towards the net as K-Dop. Take this one into the corner. See another shot come out from Cuxer. He's trying to pad those stats as we saw before in the previous series against XL. They had so many shots going forward. Still struggling to get out their side a little bit.
This game and this series as a whole is going to be so fast-paced, similar to what we saw earlier on today. Shots coming out on the side of FlipSid Tactics here. Gale Force forcing FlipSid into a poor defensive position. Now Turbo looking for an aerial pass, a nice little flick after he dribbled. The miss is going to come through and FlipSid have an opportunity to push it back.
We saw 2 dangerous double commits on the defense there, and previous ones before. We've seen so many overcommits on either the offense or the defense today for FlipSid, so they really need to clean that play up and make sure that they don't give any opportunity for Gale Force to take advantage of those challenges.
They really can't overcommit at all, because Gale Force is one of the teams that will punish you wholeheartedly for any little mistake.
Now, see an opportunity for them to get the clear. Still can't hold on to the ball after that. Oh, 3 members this time having to go up for that. There's not as much trust on the defense, it seems, for FlipSid. They do manage to clear towards the other end. K-Dop the only one back. But good deflection towards the corner. Turbo Pulsa will be there to back him up. There is a setup opportunity. Mystic into the corner, setting up UKO. It's popped into the air. Turbo Pulsa to take it forward. Cuxer patiently waiting on that midfield line. Will give his team some time to pick up some boost and maybe move it down the field again as much as they want to. Haven't been able to put up as much pressure as they're used to, so they're being forced back into more of a defensive style of play, not being too risky with some of these challenges. But we do see a great shot like that. UKO getting the finish.
Cuxer placing this low. Great shot for him. The actual double touch. I didn't realize that he had soloed the play up until that point. Then UKO able to come up and finish that one out. First goal of the series going to FlipSid 3.5 minutes into the first game.
And after 5 shots from both teams as well, it could have easily been a goal for Gale Force, really just showing how close these 2 teams are. Another one off the kickoff, almost going towards that net. Not really too much to worry about, but this is one they want to worry about. Mystic, but it gets blocked by Violent Panda, who is in position for that save.
I shouted Cuxer, but the Batmobiles are confusing me. That was Mystic making that beautiful play. Cuxer not following up for the shot there. Gale Force are hesitating on defense, and this could spell bad for them, as FlipSid may be able to take this 1 goal to the bank.
And that's what they are hoping for at this point. Even though they have that 1 goal, they're still putting on pressure towards the defense of Gale Force. You keep seeing them going for setups time and time again, making it sure they have plenty of opportunities to get back, get some boost, and then get back on the offensive side, as we see Violent Panda is having to rotate back around and try and get this towards the other end. waiting for his teammates to push it down the field and go for another drive. They need one desperately at this point as they are still down with 30 seconds, and Kuxer is able to put it past all three of them with no contest.
Turbo had to rotate back straight for this. He wanted to pick up a boost before he did, but he didn't have what was necessary to get back for the save. FlipSid are looking so good. They were on the defensive side, a little bit on the back foot early on in the game, but Gale Force really hasn't been able to put anything together on the offense since.
And I've really been loving how Mystic has improved throughout the day. I mentioned it in the previous series, but I want to mention it again. He was whiffing a lot of his shots and even some of the save opportunities, but still, he's really been able to step up to the plate, fill his role on this FlipSid roster, and really just solidify their lead in this game. Another one, Kuxer putting the final one in, 3-0.
At the 0-second mark, just solidifying their lead and saying they are not to be reckoned with here. But the question remains, can FlipSid take this into the long game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because they usually, when they go down, they are so good at being able to correct their play and change up what is necessary to take a win moving forward. But now, they start with the lead, which is something we haven't seen really against when they play this Gale Force squad.
Yeah, because last time they were down by 2 and they were almost able to pull off the reverse sweep. They just couldn't do it in the end due to some defensive mistakes. But this time, they cleaned up their defense. Even though we saw like so many double commits at the beginning, they were able to change that and make sure that didn't happen anymore because of their all-out offensive attacks they were showing at Gale Force. And Gale Force, even though they had a lot of shots, it still wasn't really enough to put any bad position or put FlipSid in any like terrible positions to get saves. They were always like in the right spot at the right time, even when they threw like their entire team at a save sometimes.
Yeah, like you were saying, FlipSid were in the right position this time. They were matching the speed, even excelling past the way Gale Force was putting them on the defensive side, which means Gale Force wasn't able to really find a footing on that offensive side to have a continual offensive pressure. And that's what sort of gave FlipSid the ability to push back there. So now moving into the second game of this series, FlipSid with the lead. And remember, this is a best of 5. And since Gale Force have not lost in this bracket yet, FlipSid coming through the lower bracket, they will have to beat them in a bracket reset if they want to take the first seed moving into the NARLI LAN finals.
And just to remind you guys who the first seed will be facing off against at those NARLI finals, it will be FlyQuest. And then the second seed would be facing off against G2, which would be a pretty tough matchup. So they definitely want to get the best seeding they can possible as FlipSid with the advantage in this series so far. But we already see aggression coming out strong from Gale Force as K-Dop takes that down the field. Able to get an interesting block with his teammate as they managed to got possession for a second. But it's quickly headed towards their side as Mystic took control for a second. Turbo Pulse is going to keep this in the air for a moment, but it goes all the way towards that midfield. UKO barely missed that one. Everyone flopping around, flailing like fish out of water, but still not going to find any of the Gale Force team members there when they usually are ready for those kind of opportunities. Turbo had a chance, but it's going to fizzle out a little bit.
FlipSid doing great job on the defense this time, not really faltering as much as they were in their original series with Gale Force, where Gale Force had so much pressure on the offense. The offense is there for Gale Force now. It's just down to how FlipSid react to it.
Yeah, and FlipSid have been reacting to it pretty well so far, even though we've seen all of the aggression be in the court of Gale Force, where they've been throwing it at FlipSid's net, but still not enough to keep them down for too long. They break out every here and there, but they still haven't really been able to put too many shots. Only one so far by UKO, as we've seen 4 from Gale Force. Another one coming towards the backboard. No one following through with that one. Keep up the pressure. We do see a good connection there, but still not enough to get past that defensive line. As K-Dop will pull this down the pitch. UKO is going to pass it off to his teammate that do manage to get it towards the other end. So we are seeing some more possession for FlipSid, but Gale Force just as easily are controlling the pace of play.
Gale Force, with their touches off to the side, put it right back into the hands of FlipSid. FlipSid's positioning on the offense is what's allowing them to follow up on shots that Gale Force are defending. And now with the turnaround, Gale Force have more opportunities too.
Oh, we've seen so many of those opportunities for Gale Force as well, but we're already seeing some pretty great ones for FlipSid. They just can't manage to get past that defensive line for Gale Force. They need to go for some more of those passes that we've seen. There's a connection there, but Cookser cannot get the finish as it gets knocked back towards their end. Turbo Pulsa missing that one, having to pass it off to Violent Panda. He's like, here you go, try and take a ride with this one, see what you can get out of it, but it's not going to be a goal, unfortunately. It's a clear instead. Turbo Pulsa will have another approach here. He's going to try and connect. Doesn't even need to, as he was going to carry that all the way home, but gets blocked out by UKO. Violent Panda's going to give it another go. Doesn't have to really follow up on that one. He saw all the defenders ready for that. The good connection by Turbo Pulsa, but still, they keep throwing it right at the defense. They aren't really getting it past them in any capacity. They're just in a great position to get these blocks and saves.
And that's not just bad shots or shots right at the defenders. For example, the air dribble by Turbo, right? It was in the high corner of that net.
True.
They had to fly to the absolute corner at the last second to be able to make that save. And it's the incredible defense by FlipSid that's keeping Gale Force just out of their reach. And with only a minute and a half into this game, with 0-0 scoreline, you'd have to say either the first goal that's going to be coming in here could be the deciding factor here.
Especially with how close it is between these two teams. I feel that the defensive FlipSid is better, but the offensive Gale Force has been strong enough to kind of hold them off on that defensive end, not give them the greatest opportunities for setups, and they always intercept it whenever they have a chance for that. So they're forcing their opponents to kind of change things up as UKO tried to throw that one towards the net. Mystic will get the touch, but not going to really do too much for his team, as there is another pass intercepted by Cookser there. UKO has another chance, but will give that off to Violent Panda, almost getting that block. So we saw Cookser headed up the field. There's an opportunity for Mystic. Does get knocked back to the other side, just bouncing back and forth, playing some pong between the backboards of each side of the field, as UKO has another chance to get the clear. Not much boost to work with, though, so has to rely on his teammates. But still, booming it back and forth between these two teams. 30 seconds now. It couldn't be closer than this.
It is very close. Another team finding a lot of the passing plays in the infield once they push that ball up. They are playing it fairly slow both times. Slow shots on net are not opening up either team for high percentage plays, but with the last few seconds counting down, this is FlipSid on the offense. Now Gale Force pushing it down. This could be dangerous. It goes, hit the ground. They decide not to challenge the ball, and it's going into overtime in the second game of the series.
That was the perfect way to make sure that ball hit the ground. He didn't want it to go towards his net. Backflipped instead, and already they are on the offense, and we know how deadly FlipSid tactics are in overtime. So far, they haven't done too well. PSG won the last overtime, but Mystic is trying to change that, and maybe Cookser will come in and show why he is so clutch in these kind of situations. Is getting pressured, though, by the Gale Force offense, getting bumped out of the way. The post barely off its mark, as UKO does get the touch and buys them a little bit of time and some boost as well. See the block away by Cookser, who gets that save and only managed to keep it out their end for a moment, as they finally are able to break out. 42 seconds, probably I'd say 30 of that has been in their own side, and still able to put on a few shots.
FlipSid now looking for those passes. They are looking so clean and put together here. Their passes are accurate, their shots are on point, and Gale Force are looking a little afraid here. You can see this clear coming down from Mystic, not even a challenge on the wall. All three members of Gale Force are backing off and respecting FlipSid's passing ability.
We saw that all three members of FlipSid were just ready at the midfield line to stop any of the clears we saw from Gale Force. They finally were able to do it and get some offense going, but it's some great defense we're seeing. And I guess preventative defense from FlipSid to make sure they don't have those kind of opportunities they want. Another chance, though, for FlipSid as it gets blocked out by a defender. I feel like we could easily have another game in overtime be played. But Turbo Pulsa is going to hit that one into corner, as we are awaiting our first goal to still be scored in this game.
1 minute and 40 seconds into this overtime for this second game of the series. FlipSid now. Ooh. With poor touches on the defense here. This is uncharacteristic mistakes of them so far. They're looking so good here. I think when they do get an opportunity to push this ball forward again, all they need to do is connect one or two passes, and they'll be able to put this ball on net, but Gale Force are playing so safe, playing so passive. They're so scared of making one of those mistakes on the defense like they have so far. FlipSid could easily take the win.
I feel like Gale Force also, even though they are playing very safe, they're still playing at their pace. They know even though it's overtime, they just need one goal and then they'll be set. Like Leaf and Lala were saying before, that's how they play their game. We almost saw another opportunity there, but FlipSid are kind of doing the same thing. They aren't being too hasty in a lot of these challenges, taking their time, where before we used to see them overcommit so many times. But now, UKO with possession, going to take his time with this one, try and just buy his teammates some time to rotate forward and give themselves a clear that they desperately need, try and open up a lane into the Gale Force's end, and eventually get that goal as we've reached half a game already gone in this overtime, plus 30 seconds or so. There's a drop down for Cooksier there, still not enough to keep it in their side. They are facing the pressure of Gale Force yet again with those passing plays. Good idea by Violent Panda to opt for another angle, but it does get blocked towards the middle. UKO's going to take it down towards that corner as well. K-Dop just sends it right back at him. Violent Panda gets the connection, and they keep it at this midfield line so many times. They try to take it up the wall, not going for the same style of plays they were before because they kept getting blocked and saved by the FlipSid defense.
This is legitimately just a game of ping pong at this point. These long clears back and forth. Gale Force will take some shots on net, right? But they only have 9 right now, which is astounding because usually, especially at this point, with almost 4 minutes into overtime, you'd expect so many more. 8 from FlipSid, 9 from Gale Force at the moment. It's just down to 1 passing play. I mean, what else can you say here? Both teams are playing so much slower than you'd expect them to.
And that's all they really need to do right now. They don't want to push the issue. They don't want to do too much or else it might cost them.
And I have to attribute a lot of this stalemate sort of play to the boost management that both of these teams have, right? Because it's so difficult for either of these teams, even if they are stealing boost, even if they are, bumping their opponents, to completely boost starve because both these teams are known for their efficiency in boost usage.
Yeah, that's been great to see as well. And we've seen both of them just maintaining their corner boost, making sure there's no chance for the opponents to get that because they know that's going to give them the advantage. We saw an opportunity there. There's one right here for UKO. Turbo Pulsa hits that into the corner as Mystic just steals their boost out from underneath their nose. The shot by Cooksier will go in to the net. I didn't think it was going to be on target. I thought they had the save, but the defenders were just not prepared for that.
The far post here. The goalie trying to come up for that save.
He just like flips in the air and just misses.
Was that a mechanical error? He probably didn't assume that Cooksier was going to be able to actually put that on net as it hit that perfect back post.
You just got to expect the most accurate shots in the world for Cooksier. Whenever you're playing against him, he's going to go for the most precise angle he needs to secure victory, and that's what they just did. I don't know the final count in the overtime. I think we had almost a full game at the end there, but some crazy stuff from FlipSid, and as usual, Cooksier clutching in overtime.
A 0-0 game for like almost a full 10 minutes until Cooksier hit that one in. I mean, I probably including the kickoff timer. That was probably a full 10-minute game there. This just shows how close these two teams are. FlipSid are now unexpectedly up 2-0 in the first best of 5.
That is insane. Like, they were calling on the desk that Gale Force would probably take this like 3-1. It'd be okay. They were strong going into their series. They just almost got reverse swept by FlipSid. That was a fluke. But FlipSid, being FlipSid, the old FlipSid that we used to see, making those lower bracket runs, getting into the grand finals, and they are trying to go the distance. Need one more to get our first bracket reset of the week, so that would be great to see from FlipSid Tactics, but I'm sure Gale Force don't want that to happen, so they'll be trying to pull off a full reverse sweep of their own.
FlipSid carrying the momentum that they've had from the previous series. They've been playing so well in this entire tournament, not losing to anyone but Gale Force in a very close best of 5 previously. And now looking to take their own best of 5 back from Gale Force. This could possibly be the final game of this first best of 5.
Oh, the Mystic! What? Okay, let me break this down real quick. UKO, perfect placement. Mystic gets the touch, It hits Violent Panda, then he gets it right underneath him. A perfect block using that Batmobile so efficiently to secure that first goal.
After 10 minutes of no goals, we see that from Mystic. Mystic has been coming into his own and improving over the day. We've seen that on stream and now showing up to put this one goal in so quickly on FlipSid have to be feeling so good.
I feel like Mystic has always been a big question mark for FlipSid as well. Once he joined the team, they're like, how's he going to perform? And he might not have been having the best stats out of the roster, but he's been really showing how much of a good player he is in this series and in this tournament today. Even after he faced adversity with all the whiffs he had before, he's been able to come back from that swinging and with a vengeance as well, getting that first goal. But now, Mystic's going to try and get a connection with that one. Yukio with the block. So he's going to try and save that one, almost going into the net. They are facing all of the pressure in the world from Gale Force as they are desperate to get this to a tie game so they don't have to worry about it in overtime. They can just come back, get 2 easy goals. They'll have the lead, get their reverse sweep coming. But FlipSid, with the way they are playing, it's just been amazing. And it's going to be such a challenge for Gale Force to come back.
FlipSid have been controlling the ball so well after Gale Force make clears because they can make these boomers so easy, but Kuxer is always in that midfield. Yukio is always in that midfield to challenge that ball before they really get these strong clears out. And you can see this Mystic putting shots on net so close already. 3 for his team now, 2 for Mystic himself. The pressure on Gale Force is mounting.
It's been insane to see.
Wait, did you see that shot? It looked like a pass coming out from the side, but the angles that FlipSid are finding, Gale Force are on their toes.
That was a crazy angle as well. I'm sure they thought it was a pass, but they had like 3 members of their team ready and waiting. So it was maybe like a feeler shot. It's like, yeah, maybe if they're not expecting it, it'll go past them. But instead, it just bounced off towards their end. So they do have an opportunity here. It's still not enough. Violent Panda has been cutting back and forth right before that box, and it still hasn't really succeeded with any of his challenges he's been trying to create off of it. But there's a shot here, and it gets past him. They weren't prepared for that kind of speed out of Violent Panda.
Yukio, the one KBM player we have here, not able to find the save. Ooh. As Violent Panda had the ball coming laterally across the midfield. He could have been as patient as he wanted placing that shot. Great position for him to be in, especially since the ball was bouncing in the right position there. But now that is the equalizer, halfway, almost exactly halfway through this game. And FlipSid, although it is tied up, it seems like they are playing so good that Gale Force are going to really have to step it up if they want to mount a complete comeback. 1 goal is just not enough.
Yeah, they need 2 more games as well if they are able to win this one to get that complete comeback. In this series at least, but still plenty of time as Violent Panda tried to push the issue. But K-Dop is going to put that one straight towards the net, and no, all the defenders were out of position on the play. I just thought, oh, it's going to be fine. They'll be able to get the save, but no, he just got it right past them, and that demo was perfect.
Yukio actually started rotating back to goal, but he was hesitant because he saw his teammate moving forward to challenge that. And the quick shot coming out, remember, this is something we've been talking about all day. Gale Force being able to place shots on net from anywhere on the map. You always have to be careful.
Always have to expect those shots, especially UK. Just patiently waiting for that to land in his lap. And then he'll just serve it right up to the other side. Violent Panda losing that 50-50. Not the greatest angle to go at that one either. Usually when there's a Mystic near the Batmobile, he's not typically going to win those kind of challenges, but worked out for them.
That was, what a shot. What a shot there from Mystic, able to pop that one up. And a nice little 50-50. I feel like that's one of the reasons why FlipSid have been so dominant against Gale Force is 50-50s. Have never been lost. They have 2 Batmobiles, and they haven't lost a 50-50.
Like, what is happening? What timeline is going on right now?
Triple Octane versus double Batmobile. This is the new meta.
And I'm sure FlipSid are happy about that. A great bump as well to only make 1 defender available on Gale Force's end, as Kuxer almost got a bump on K-Dop there. And just a little bit off on the shot was Mystic. UKO is forced to back off on the play. We see a mid-air passing play for Gale Force, but still not working out in their favor. Do manage to keep it on the side of FlipSid for as long as they need. K-Dop setting up Turbo Pulsa a bit off target, and they are able to get back in time for that one. As it almost sneaks past Violent Panda. Yukio and Cooksier patiently waiting for the challenge. Ooh, that was a bad touch by Yukio there, I believe it was, and didn't really put them in too bad a position, surprisingly, but the miss coming out from K-Dop there, who could have had an easy finish.
That really should have been a goal there, and with only 30 seconds left, that could have been easily the game winner. And now FlipSid, with an opportunity to turn this around, and possibly an overextended Gale Force here for pushing up to this ball. This is so dangerous for either team.
That was a very risky double commit as well. Both members, another double commit again from FlipSid. They haven't been punished yet, so they're like, oh, well, just do it, but a great shot, another double commit, and eventually it's going to find itself in the net. K-Dop putting the finishing touches on that one.
You could see the defender here trying to go up for it. I believe that is Mystic. Yeah, not able to find that save. Very close on that angle on the save, but repeated shots on net here. 10 shots on net for Gale Force against this FlipSid squad. And they've only now finally been able to mount a lead. This is the first time Gale Force has had a lead against FlipSid this entire series. And as the ball hits down, this is Gale Force taking one game to themselves. And FlipSid, although they go down in this game, they're still up 2-1 in the series, in the first series that we're finding. FlipSid are just looking so clean, so good on the offense. And I guess and defense. Defense was pretty insane here. We actually saw 9 saves.
9 saves.
You rarely see
what?
You rarely see that many saves registered actually on the scoreboard. I bet they had so many more opportunities
Probably
to
like
actually
10,
play it
12 saves or something like that. But a good thing or an important thing to note about those score lines, we saw a lot more shots from Gale Force. They didn't have to make as many saves. So there wasn't as many interruptions from FlipSid Tactics whenever they were going for a lot of those challenges, and that's really the difference maker in this game specifically, is they weren't able to shut down a lot of those challenges. They were giving Gale Force the necessary space to get those kind of opportunities and shots on the net, and we saw so many of those happen time and time again against FlipSid. Even though they had the advantage so long in that game, it just wasn't enough to hold off that pressure.
Gale Force had so many shots on net, and it wasn't just like over the course of the game.
Yeah.
Right? It was like 1, 2, 3. We'll wait like another minute and a half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So it was their continued pressure and how they rotate around that offensive side that keeps them in that game and puts FlipSid on the back foot. We'll see if FlipSid will collapse again on the defense or if Gale Force will make the same mistakes they did in the beginning.
FlipSid's really got to clean up those double commits on the defense as well. We saw it happen a few times towards the end of that match, and it seems like it ended up costing them as all 3 members tried to struggle and get that goal. Okay, we almost saw another crazy goal. Yukio, okay, you had a chance. Got to take a breath there. We would have started off strong again for FlipSid. They managed to push that past the defense. Cooksier is going to meet Turbo Posa with the ball. Violent Panda just patiently waiting for that one. Got to make sure they can't get possession of it and hold on to it as long as he can, even with no boost to work with. A great pass going towards the net and will be knocked away by Mystic towards the corner. They eventually get that clear, but it doesn't really last too long for them. And another great shot from Gale Force. Gale Force are looking so strong after that win.
They've definitely cleaned up, I think, their offensive act. Passes coming through for Gale Force that are telling that they are playing at the speed that they would like to, right? FlipSid, with those double commits, even on the offense now, are opening Gale Force for opportunities that they haven't had in this series so far.
Ooh, that was a very close one, but they were able to get the save. And as you were mentioning about the opportunities that Gale Force hasn't had so far, and a miss from Cooksier there gets them an opportunity to drop that down, but no, it's not going to find itself towards that. All 3 members of FlipSid having to go for that one.
Look at these passes!
Almost finding its mark again. It's just been barely off target every
time.
What are
they doing?
It's still not going to work out, and it will go towards the other end eventually. I'm sure FlipSid are so happy that they didn't make a single mistake there, or they weren't taking advantage of when they did make the defensive mistakes.
Gale Force had almost no boost, and look how many passes they've had back and forth across this back wall. FlipSid are scrambling to put together some sort of defensive rotation that will be fast enough to match this Gale Force onslaught.
We saw such a slow pace of play before, but now it's really stepped up, especially for Gale Force, because of how close these
Oh
two teams
my
were. Another one
My
barely
heart.
off target.
I can't handle this.
I can't handle
Just
this
take
either.
it
I haven't
out.
seen them hit so many posts time and time again, or the wall instead of the actual net. They should have had like 4 goals at this point in time. But UKO, Mystic, and Cookser are able to take this down the field. They're going to have a breather.
Yeah, how about we
Yeah,
take
give us a breather as well, because there's been too much action going on. As UKO will give themselves another chance to just lob that down the field. They're not going to hold on to the possession for too long. Cookser with a really weird touch there, or actually didn't even get a touch, a weird challenge. Will almost drop in right behind all 3 of them. Everyone going, what is happening?
This
on
bronze?
the
What is happening?
Everyone just going after the ball chase and having a fun time. Nobody's scored yet, though. It's been half a game that's been so action-packed, but just nothing's found its mark. Eventually, we see another shot coming in by KDOF. And we will have some defensive rotation in place by FlipSid to hopefully get a clear here. Another shot coming in. It's not going to go in.
They got it out!
Enough still, as it's going to be out after hitting the post by Panda. He's just going to sit there. He's like, okay, I'm just going to patiently wait this time. It might work out. But his teammates are going for it, too. It's just back and forth.
6 shots on net for Gale Force. And yet, okay.
The moment we stop talking, it's like, yep, there's the goal.
How many saves did that crossbar have in that sequence of events? Right?
The
KDOF coming
crossbar
in.
and the post.
Oh my gosh. What is happening here? I know that Gale Force are trying to have a nice position shot just under the crossbar, but just put it in. You've had so many opportunities to put it in, but FlipSid, like, they don't have much boost. They're scrambling to make defensive plays, and yet they're still able to barely match the constant passes by Gale Force. Gale Force are just looking incredible right now.
And they're going to continue that pressure that they've been putting on to FlipSid, even when they have had chances to go for those clear opportunities. We see them just taking control of the ball near the midfield line, or even before it reaches that point. And as soon as they get a chance to get a touch, they're in such a bad position where they can't make any play out of it. It just finds itself back towards their end. And with 1:08 seconds remaining, they are only down by 1. But with plays like this and the net being left wide open, you'd think it'd be up by a lot more for Gale Force.
But keep in mind that with only a 1-goal lead, a single good play from FlipSid could take the series.
I'm hoping for that for their sakes, because they've been stuck in their own end for such a long time. They've eventually started to set up camping tents in their net, but instead, UKO doesn't get the touch. It almost goes off the crossbar and in again, but as you mentioned, the lovely crossbar of FlipSid, I guess that one's going to be memed now, as it's been the best defender for their team in this specific game. Gale Force are trying to force that reverse sweep, going all the way to Game 5 if they can get the win in the next 23 seconds. Mystic is going to take that down the field and give UKO an opportunity. It goes off the wall instead and puts them in a bad position. A double commit by Gale Force on offense. They want to shut this down. They don't want FlipSid to bring this to an overtime. Cookser, Mystic, and UKO, bad position. Don't have too much time. They need to get this in the air for their dream of getting the 3-1 victory against Gale Force to be alive. It does hit the ground, and we get our Game 5 in the first best of 5. Potential for 2 best of 5s in this series. I almost had a heart attack during that one.
Gale Force had so many chances to score. They had 10 shots on net.
It's like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And keep in mind, it wasn't just like shots from the midfield, shots from the corner. There were passes back and forth directly on net. Actually, I bet you, I want to like look at like the individual stats, bring up like the replay and look at them. How many times the ball was actually partially in the goal? Because
it was so many times, and then it's somehow just like, whoop.
Yeah, that's how you get those bouncers where it hits the crossbar. It's so close. It bounces straight down on that goal line. It's like halfway in the net, but they just couldn't finish it out. FlipSid did a great job of being able to
I don't know how they held
those.
off for that long.
Keep in mind, though, even though they were able to like get those out of their net, the fact that they let those happen,
That
and Gale Force had the ability to completely control this game. Now it's Game 5, and FlipSid, they had a 2-0 lead against Gale Force. Not many teams in the entire world can say they've had a 2-0 lead in a best of 5 against Gale Force, and they let it go. Now it's tied up, and Gale Force are looking so good. I doubt that FlipSid will be able to come back here. We'll just see what happens.
We need them to have full control of the ball, full possession in their court if they want to take the victory in this one and get that bracket reset. Because just to remind you guys, this is the grand finals to determine who gets the #1 and the #2 seed here at the Northern Arena Rocket League Invitational presented by Omen by HP. And Gale Force, they're coming from the winner's side, so they only need to win this one game and they will get that #1 seed. FlipSid need to win this and then another best of 5 afterwards. And we saw a potential for a reverse sweep before. FlipSid almost got it against Gale Force, but now Gale Force, I feel like they're more than capable of achieving that, especially what we saw before. As we see a shot come in from Cooksier, does get knocked away by K-Dop, but UKO is going for another setup for his teammate. A little bit off to the corner, so not too much that they can do with that one. As Violet Panda tried to flick that over top of the attacker, UKO will try and stall that out in front of the net. Nobody hits that one, but nobody to follow up on that mistake, and they need to be able to capitalize in those moments.
Especially when you're playing against a team that's playing at the speed of Gale Force, right? The speed of other Rocket League teams is measured comparatively to Gale Force. That's how much of a mountain they are. More like a storm that you need to play against. But Cooksier, with a long clear, able to find a goal. This was absolutely unexpected as that ball bounced down. Violent Panda and K-Dop just not in position to rotate back.
Yeah. That's all you can say about that one. It's just a boomer of it. Well, not really a boomer of a shot. It was a slow shot. Just found its mark. Just whipped right past everyone. And I'm sure they'll gladly take that one after the shots that they had on their net from before. But UKO is going to go for another one. And another drop down by Mystic. They have really upped the intensity in this 5th and potentially final game.
UKO popping it up to Mystic there for the easy bounce down. The missed challenge on the side of Gale Force to not be able to clear that one out. 2-0 lead by FlipSid here in this game here. Now, FlipSid are looking to extend that lead or play a little bit more conservative. The problem with doing that is that against Gale Force, if you slow down a little bit, they will take complete control and roll over you in the series. So you need to keep up that aggression even with the lead.
Yeah, you don't want to get stuck in your own end and boost starve to oblivion, which we saw happen in the previous game, because they struggled so much to get out towards the other side. And even when they did, it just wasn't enough, so they can't put their foot off the pedal at all. They need to go full throttle towards that victory against Gale Force and get that bracket reset. UKO doesn't have a chance there. There is an opportunity for Mystic to get a connection and block out any opportunity for a challenge. As K-Dop is patiently waiting, forced to rotate back around. There was a shot trying to set up their teammates for FlipSid, but good touch by K-Dop and follow through as well. Make sure they don't have the position necessary. A good shot coming in from Violent Panda as well. K-Dop set that up, does get a clear opportunity from Mystic as it goes into the corner. Turbo Pulsa, or Violent Panda, whoever that was on the Gale Force team, had a chance there to get the clear, took their time. That was a very interesting challenge by Cooksier, but worked out a little bit. It is on their side in a dangerous position, but they do manage to push it down the field. Was almost on target enough, and we see another opportunity, but they can't sneak it past the defense and extend their lead quite yet.
This may not be some in-game analysis, but I love the Champions Field voiceover. you think you're the only one talking, and then you hear, "What a save!" It's the best. I'm sorry.
And I'm sure we're going to keep hearing plenty of that. As we were just talking about, what a save coming in again. Actually, speaking of saves, we've seen 4 saves, or 5 saves actually so far for FlipSid. So they have the offense, they have the defense. They've been shutting down all these opportunities Gale Force have been given, who have 6 shots themselves. Though it's been crazy to see FlipSid Tactics really turn up the notch to 11, giving 110% to get this victory and the save as well. Another what a save coming out from that announcer. Deservedly so for FlipSid, but they need to hold off and get this out of their end and hold off for this last minute and 10 seconds.
FlipSid doing such a good job at keeping Gale Force out of their net. It's so difficult to do this. Oh my gosh. So many close opportunities. With only a minute left, Gale Force are not going to have many opportunities to really push this ball forward anymore, as FlipSid have so much control in this game, unexpectedly so, especially since Gale Force were stepping up their game and had changed sort of their play style and had taken more control in the previous game.
There we go.
That's Cooksir for you.
Yeah.
That is so Cooksir, extending their lead, popping that up, tipping it again over the challenger from Gale Force.
So we're seeing Gale Force being forced into a position we haven't seen them in quite some time, where they're having to go for those all-out attacks, those overcommits on the offense, not even thinking for a moment to leave someone back, because they need this victory.
2 of the 3 goals by FlipSid were long clears. Cooksir, obviously, with that nice touch over the defender, but that still counts, right? It's a long pop forward that your opponent simply is not in position to really challenge at the same level as you. This is Gale Force being a little slow on the defense because they feel threatened by the speed and accuracy of the FlipSid's offense.
Ooh, we almost saw another opportunity for a goal there. They're patiently waiting to get it past him as well. The classic Cooksir goal. Great mind game.
This is just Cooksir being Cooksir. He's already won. Okay, this actually shows you that FlipSid, like, this shows why they're winning. They're feeling so confident. Cooksir would have never have done that if he wasn't feeling super confident in his ability to simply win the game. It doesn't matter what's going on. Let's just waste some time and have fun with it. FlipSid Tactics have taken the game and have won the first best of 5. Gale Force, this is the first time that they have lost a series in this tournament, and now the bracket has been reset.
Could say that the bracket's been flipped or something like that for FlipSid. I had to throw one of those in there, but the first time this week of all 4 days of these qualifiers that we have been casting, that we got a bracket reset. We thought there might be one for Lights Out and Splice. There wasn't. We thought there'd be one for Team Asteria and With My Boys, but there wasn't again. And then NRG and Cloud9, we're like, yeah, Cloud9 could probably do something. NRG stomped. And now FlipSid able to hold off in the end, prevent the reverse sweep from happening. Kudos to them. And now they have another best of 5 to get through, to get that #1 seed. And if they get that, they'll face off against FlyQuest at the live finals in July.
And that's definitely a position you want to be in. And there's a big difference between seedings here, especially when you look at the NA teams that you're facing against, right? NRG, G2, Cloud9, and FlyQuest. There are certain matchups there that you'd much rather have over others, right?
I don't want to face NRG right now if I were them.
Oh my gosh, no way. And here we go, second best of 5. And I know there are a lot of you in chat that are singing Gale Force's praises. I know Giblet is there helping out Gibbs with all their Twitch accounts, right? sing each other's praises about Gale Force. But if you look at the cleanliness that FlipSid are playing, I feel like Gale Force are falling a little bit behind, which you do not see very often.
And we always see at the beginning of these games the confidence oozing from FlipSid. They go for those crazy attacks right at the beginning to try and strike fear in their opponents. And Gale Force are probably starting to doubt themselves a little bit already. Another shot going straight on target from Cooksir. And a chance as well for K-Dop to try and keep that in their side, but they aren't going to try and send too many members on their team at a time towards that net. They just want to send one at a time. Maybe see if they can force a mistake from the defenders there. They don't want to overcommit like they did in the last game, which cost them that series. So now Gale Force are in their own side. Cooksir going for a setup play, but they do get a chance to clear it. Yukio, great touch, making sure that the ball goes towards the corner, and it does get cleared towards the other end. Violet Panda having to get a connection on that one, but not enough to hold on to control of the ball for long enough. So Turbo Pulsar will hit that towards their side, but it does get knocked right back to them. We have another opportunity for Cooksir to try and take this forward. Yukio will be patiently waiting near the midfield line and seeing what chance he has to take a shot at that net. It's not going to be given to him too easily as Turbo Pulsar will challenge that one. Chance for K-Dop to keep it in their end, but it gets knocked into Mystic and Cooksir's clutches. Goes towards the net, but not enough as well, as we've seen them just go back and forth with these shots. They get possession, hand it off to the other, throw a shot at the net, still can't get that first goal in the first game of this bracket reset best of 5.
This is something very similar to what we saw in the 3rd game of the previous series. Just boomer after boomer until Gale Force found a footing on the offensive side and took some goals. It's really up to whoever gets the first sort of lead here and who can compound that lead into an advantage over their opponents to take the early games of the series. FlipSid now want to do the same here as they push forward on the offense, but Gale Force so quickly returned the ball.
Yeah, and FlipSid almost got a 3-0 to remind you guys as they prevented the reverse sweep from Gale Force. They had a chance to get this much earlier and didn't have to prolong the series too much, but Gale Force wanted to make a series out of it as they have another chance for a shot. Does get blocked by the overcommitted defense, but works out in their favor. We've seen that happen so many times from FlipSid too, where they overcommit on defense, but they don't get punished at all by Gale Force.
Gale Force rotate in the midfield more, like in the close midfield, more than any other team I've ever seen. They pick up the boost, and they have such great boost management skills that even when the boost isn't there, they will always be in position to challenge that ball and pass it laterally to their teammates so they can keep up the offensive pressure.
Now we see Kate up, an opportunity to get it clear towards the end. Already been half a game and no goal scored. We might get our overtime 0-0 like we did in the last best of 5 these two faced off in. Mystic was trying to prevent that from happening. Cookser have possession, handed it off to Violent Panda, who actually misses on that challenge. Gives it up to K-Dop though, so they do get it down the field. Yukio with the miss, flying into orbit. It is in the side of FlipSid yet again. It hits off the corner. Violent Panda with a miss, giving them an opportunity to get the clear. K-Dop was there ready for it. Have another opportunity on this one. Cookser sets up Mystic for the clear. He's going to follow through with this one, try to fall down and get in the way of that save. But still, UPO patiently waiting on this one. Goes a little bit too early on the challenge. Gives them a chance to get that towards the other end, but still not a chance for Gale Force to really set anything up on FlipSid's side. They've had one opportunity. There's an opportunity there, though, for Cookser to get the first goal of the game for FlipSid.
One little mistake for Gale Force, a bad 50-50 for them. Turbo and his teammate there, K-Dop, can't rotate fast enough to come in there, and Cookser is following up so closely. This is reminiscent to the first game of the previous best of 5 when Cookser had the only goal in the entire game. And now as they push this forward, I wonder, will Gale Force even be able to take a single goal in this one? Wait a second!
No.
Turbo not able to find the ceiling shot, but so close. This is what they need to do. Keep this up. 45 seconds left.
Plenty of time for Gale Force to get at least one goal. The demo will help them out on achieving that, but still can't get an accurate enough shot or the connection they need. Even having connection issues with each other as the goal goes into net again for Cookser. 2 on the board now for FlipSid.
The community was already so surprised at which teams qualified for the NARLI LAN. And now we see FlipSid turning over the massive giant that is Gale Force in the EU region. Gale Force is so strong and was by far the favorite to take this entire regional qualifiers. Now FlipSid doing such a good job with their lead so far.
Could say FlipSid is the kryptonite to Gale Force as they have those 2 Batmobiles on their side and looking to get a 3rd goal in the last few seconds.
Oh, that was actually
they
really
need
good.
to hold off on this one. Thank you. I was trying to make some highbrow humor there, but Cookser with the goal, connected to by Mystic, and there was the 2 Batmobiles working in synergy.
FlipSid 3-0 to Gale Force. This is something I don't think anyone expected here.
I didn't expect it.
They're taking the first game in the second best of 5. Remember, they've already beaten them in the 1 best of 5. And that is such a difficult task to do. When you do turn over the bracket reset, it's very much a reset for everyone, right? You need to take your time, kind of let your losses go previously, and just let the new bracket be something
Take
new.
a breath.
And Gale Force had the advantage since they can easily just lose one and then come back. But it doesn't look like Gale Force has been able to pick up their losses since FlipSid are looking incredible moving forward. Cookser with another hat trick in this against Gale Force.
That was just the Cookster show that game. You can't really say anything other than that. His teammates working out perfectly to set him up every time he went for the challenges. And then they just shut down all of the pressure that Gale Force had last series. We saw not as many shots from them this time, which is kind of uncharacteristic. They were so confident last series. last best of 5, but this time they had only 5 shots compared to the 8 we saw from FlipSid, and Cookser had 5 shots himself, so, you know, crazy stuff from FlipSid, and hoping to see more from Gale Force, though, because we know they are capable of a lot more.
I think it's mostly the offense on the side of Gale Force that's failing here, because their defense is great. Usually their rotations are great, but, you know, when they are rotating back, that's when they get caught out and get goals scored on them. Gale Force need to step up their offense, because although FlipSid Tactics' defense is really good, it's susceptible to the insane shots that Gale Force can put on net. They're just not connecting those plays.
Especially like we saw in that one game of last series where they just kept pounding the net of FlipSid. They had nothing they could do. They were getting all those crazy saves, but eventually they were able to get the win.
They need to bring that back.
Hopefully they'll be able to do it this time. Another 5 minutes on the clock. Second game of the second best of 5 in these grand finals. Figure out who's going to be the #1 and #2 seed for Europe going into those live finals. Already some action coming out from Gale Force. They want to start it off with a bang going into this game. Mystic has the connection there. Violent Panda will send it back to him. Another touch by him as well. Give them the chance to get the clear. Sending it right back to them. Buying his teammates some time to recalculate their approach towards the Gale Force side. Violent Panda has to rotate back a little bit, giving it off to Mystic and Cookser, passing it back and forth to each other, then back to UKO towards the net. A little bit off target on that one. It would have been a great play if they were able to connect with it. So we see another challenge by Violent Panda. K-Dop's there in the air. Turbo Pulsa is going to send it back down and hope that his teammate can finish it off. A double commit on the defense. Another one that's not punished by anyone, as UKO and I believe that was Mystic went on, or Cookser went on the challenge there. Turbo Pulsa has a chance to set up K-Dop towards the shot. There's nobody with the finish. They've just been so off the mark on a lot of these challenges, and Cookser gets the final touch towards the other end.
K-Dop trying to challenge this against the wall here, or rather this Violent Panda, he just whiffs. Yeah. This is not something that you would find on a Gale Force squad that is looking as clean as they normally do. Something is wrong here, and they need to close it up.
They need to calm down.
Problems. I think that is it, right? Losing the first best of 5 and having a bracket reset against you must really shake you here, and they need to just relax and know that they're an amazing team, step up their offense, put some shots on them.
We've seen that happen before for Gale Force. A long one going towards the FlipSid Tactics defensive end. As Turbo Pulsa and K-Dop try to connect again, they've been missing so many times on these passing plays, but Turbo Pulsa had an open opportunity. Great save by Mystic, and another shot going towards the net. UKO this time, getting the finish.
FlipSid has been able to intercept every pass that Gale Force has been trying to put together. Gale Force is not connecting these passes in a way that will allow them to actually take shots on net. FlipSid is intercepting all these ground passes, whereas Gale Force excels at these high aerial passes. That's what they're so known for, and that's what makes them find their success. Keep those up, and they'll be able to take goals off of FlipSid. What is happening here, Vaudable?
I'm trying to use my binoculars to see what's happening with Gale Force as they are flying in the air and flopping around, not even hitting a lot of their connections right there as they usually do. They are sloppy with their play currently, and that's not what they need when they want to get the win against FlipSid. We could potentially see a 3-0 in this second best of 5 if they keep playing this way and keep missing a lot of their connections. And the touches they're going for, it's just not working out for them.
FlipSid now trying to turn this around. They are so comfortable controlling this ball. You can see the triangular formation on the defense of FlipSid. He's able to stem out any sort of offensive pressure. Turbo putting it center here, but quickly returned. Good 50-50s from FlipSid, able to control the ball in any place of the field.
Now UKO just patiently waiting for the challenge, knowing his teammate was there to back him up with a double commit. It cost them something, but the way Gale Force has been playing, they don't have to worry as much as they usually do. They can't afford to get complacent in these situations as we see a touch come in by Mystic. They do manage to get a clear for a moment towards the other end. It seems like FlipSid are playing the way Gale Force was that one game that we saw with all the aggression in their court as they were going towards FlipSid's defense. just wasn't enough for FlipSid to break out their own end. Even though Gale Force this time, they have 8 shots. FlipSid have 4. What is happening?
Previously, you were never allowed to play conservative and a little bit slower and waste time against Gale Force because they'd punish you hard by having a sustained offensive pressure. FlipSid have been able to intercept a lot of that offensive pressure.
Not that time.
But now the passes are connecting, and KDOP is going to be able to take the first goal in the past, what, 3 games?
It's been a while. What a touch. Cookser almost got there in time too, but it just unfortunately bounced back in front of his net off the backboard. So there wasn't really too much the defense could have done there, but they only have a minute left to hold on to this 1 goal advantage. They definitely need to get another one so that they can sit pretty going into that potential final game. But it's going to find itself towards the side. KDOP did get a good touch there to prevent that goal from happening. A great demo by Cookser will give UKO an opportunity and a beautiful pinch as well. It finds itself towards the midfield. Cookser has free reign to take control of this ball going off the wall, but it makes it. The defense got all changed up. They didn't know where the goal was going to come from. Cookser, he just patiently waited for this one and headed off the Mystic.
Cookser faked going off.
He faked me.
He had no boost. There was absolutely no way he was going to be able to score that, and the goalie had to assume, since he was in position, that he could have scored that, and that's what opened Mystic to be able to come through and score that. Cookser doing Cookser things by scoring that from an impossible height.
Wow, Cookser is just popping off some insane plays today from this man. It's been great to see the way FlipSid Tactics have stepped up to the plate throughout the tournament. They took down opponents that they were expected to lose against previously, but now they're showing that, you know, the inconsistency they had the first few weeks of league play, you know, that's not going to ever happen again. FlipSid Tactics is here to stay. 16 seconds now. It's basically over for this game, and we could potentially see the 3-0 sweep in the favor of FlipSid Tactics for the second series.
The second game in the first series.
That's the own goal, might as well.
You know, I mean, there's no way that Gale Force should be able to come back here with 2 seconds left. Unfortunately, although it would be fun to see in overtime. Speaking of overtime, what I was about to say was the second game in the first series was that 10-minute game.
Oh,
where we saw a 0-0 overtime until 5 minutes into overtime, right? Over a 10-minute game. This is FlipSid saying that will never happen again. Not only are we going up in this series, but unlike last series, it's not close at all.
Wow. That's all I got to say. It's just I'm astounded at how well FlipSid Tactics are performing. And Gale Force are doing terrible. They were doing really well in that first series. Maybe in this one, they aren't performing to their capabilities. They're getting a lot of misses, some uncharacteristic challenges as well. We've seen so many shots, though, from them, which we're used to seeing. So it's really just how well FlipSid Tactics have been doing so far. They have all the shots in the world that they need. They don't need a lot of them. They just use them whenever they have those opportunities. They're the perfect chances to get it past them. Plays of the game left and right for Cookser as well.
Gale Force have not been playing their standard game. This is FlipSid, yes, playing very well, but I feel like the reason FlipSid are crushing them in these past few games is because Gale Force just hasn't been stepping up the way that they normally do. Usually, they're able to connect a sequence of multiple passes that result in a goal that catches the defense off guard. FlipSid have been able to adapt to that playstyle and intercept those passes before that sequence begins. So Gale Force have been putting their first touches on net, and the defense is already there to save those, right? So their actual shots are not as high quality as we've seen before.
Yeah, and there's usually someone there ready to take advantage of those rebound opportunities, but we haven't really seen those from Gale Force in the past few games. So we see an opportunity for Violent Panda. We're really looking for the captain of this team to step up to the plate, show his team that they still have a shot at that #1 seed, even though they are down.
And keep in mind, whoever wins this game, whether it will be Gale Force trying to mount a comeback, FlipSid, if they win, could simply win this series, win the bracket reset double best of 5, and come back.
Oh.
But what an angle from Violent Panda to say that's not going to happen.
That setup, though, by Yukio is unfortunate
Holy
positioning,
cow.
but a brilliant shot from Violent Panda. As you said, what an angle. We were looking for him to step up to the plate, and he did just that, showing his team that they can still stay in this one. And we haven't seen a first goal happen for Gale Force in quite some time.
This could be the beginnings of a comeback. Some passing plays that we haven't seen before. I like how they're playing this. It seems like they have been able to reset their play style a little bit now. FlipSid should be careful, but they're still looking great.
Now Cookser, Yukio, and Mystic pushing up on the Gale Force end. Does find itself towards their side, but K-Dop will have a chance to set that up for Turbo Pulsa. A great block by Cookser on the side. So Yukio will have another chance to set up Cookser with a crazy angle, but it goes towards that backboard, giving K-Dop that opportunity to get the save. Turbo, K-Dop, Violent Panda still holding on that defensive end. We've seen a lot of possession in their favor, more so than we saw in the last 3 games, I'd say, as they were able to get that first goal. K-Dop is going to send that over towards the other end, set up Turbo Pulsar for an opportunity. Cookser, the only one back, was able to get that towards the other end. A great pass, and he just needs to be one defender. Did not have enough time given to him. K-Dop will hit that into the corner. Mystic is going to challenge him on that one. Violent Panda pre-jumping that one so early. Try and set up his teammates or just go by himself. If his team can't do it, he'll carry them on his back and try and get them that reverse sweep they need. Great pinch as well by Turbo.
In the few wins that we did see Gale Force take in the previous series, we saw multiple commits, double commits, triple commits on the defense and offense of FlipSid. I've seen that again this game, which tells me that Gale Force are going to be putting on enough pressure to keep FlipSid on the back foot the majority of this game. Now it's up to Gale Force to make further mistakes if they actually want to lose this, since they have the lead and I know they can keep it.
Yeah, they seem a lot more confident now. They took a breather after that last one. They're like, okay, we almost got a reverse sweep last time. Let's just do it again. But this time we're going to get the final win afterwards. The Yukio, just a one-on-one, well now one-on-two situation with K-Dop getting back in time. He took his sweet time trying to get towards the net and just did not work out well for him. That gives K-Dop an opportunity for the challenge. And it finds itself in the midfield and gives them an opportunity towards the corner. They can't really follow through with it. You see Cookser coming in with a touch. K-Dop just patiently waiting on that wall, not trying to overcommit on any of these plays. Violent Panda with the touch. Cookser was ready and in the perfect position for that challenge. So there's another opportunity for Turbo Pulsa. Yukio has a chance here as it goes towards the other end of crazy pinch, I believe that was. And an opportunity for Mystic to take advantage. But still, they're getting possession of the ball. They're shooting it towards the net, but not really setting each other up for any good opportunities.
They have been playing a little bit slow on the offense. We only see 3 shots on net for FlipSid. We see 1 shot on net for Gale Force. This is pretty uncharacteristic for both these teams, as usually these are both very aggressive teams on the offensive side.
Especially FlipSid. We've seen more shots for them than Gale Force. Gale Force only had 1 shot, and that got them the 1 goal they might need for this victory. But FlipSid, they need a lot more pressure than that. We see another shot come in, but nobody is there on the rebound. The demo definitely helping them out on the defense. A great connection there by the 2 attackers from Gale Force. Dropping it down, though, and blocked by Mystic was Violent Panda. Turbo Pulsar still couldn't keep it there.
That is what I want to see time and time again.
No.
Passes coming through, strong, high percentage shots on net. This is the Gale Force we know and love, but can they keep this up? Can FlipSid really drop the ball like this?
Gale Force haven't had to go all out on offense like they did in the previous games, and it's worked out perfectly for them as they are just playing their game now. They have the advantage in this one. It might drop down there. A great save, though, by Violent Panda. They're bumping each other, but K-Dop does save the day for their team. Gives them a moment to breathe. 13 seconds now on the clock for FlipSid to try and tie things up. Yukio is going to take this one forward. Violent Panda going to wait patiently for that one as it's passed off both attackers, and it will be Turbo Pulsar hitting that to the side. Panda just needs this to drop down to the ground to get that victory. It does just that. FlipSid tactics are gonna be facing a potential comeback again from Gale Force.
The first series, FlipSid went up 2, down 2, and then they were able to take it in the final game by a good margin.
Yeah.
Mind you, FlipSid have been very controlling of Gale Force, the second best of 5 so far. Gale Force were able to come back here. They didn't have to deal with an offense from FlipSid. They didn't really need to put up a wall on their defensive side because they were the ones putting the offense back on. I feel like they're stepping back into that position, that they are now sort of feeling comfortable in that offense, because before they were playing so scared, they were letting FlipSid walk all over them. Now FlipSid are looking a little shaky when it comes to pushing that ball out of their end.
And it was just one goal. One goal is all that they needed. And that was at the beginning of the game, pretty much. It really shows how crucial those opportunities are.
I think it was three games so far in these series, maybe 4. I believe it was 3 games that have been just 1-goal games. Not 1-goal differentials. They're probably more than that.
Yeah.
But just 1-goal period, right? That shows how close these two teams are. And neither of these teams are really high-scoring teams in general. So usually it's fairly low, but this is really incredible. FlipSid only needs to win 1 more to be the #1 seed in EU versus the current regional champions Gale Force from the EU side.
This is some great stuff from Gale Force, and a perfect opportunity for them to start the comeback in this best-of-5 series, the second one of this grand finals. FlipSid, they have 2 more tries to try and get that victory against Gale Force. Another one going off the backboard, the bump coming out, which will put them in a bad position, but they can't put it into the net. Cookser mistimed his attack and could not get the touch there, and it will find itself in the possession of Gale Force for a moment. The defense kind of scrambling a bit as well, as they do manage to keep it on their side. There's some uncharacteristic double commits for FlipSid as well, so they're starting to kind of panic a little bit, it seems, on the offense, as there was some miscommunication there.
I mean, at this point, I'd say it's sort of a characteristic
True.
double commit on the side of
we have seen a lot of double commits, but I mean, on offense, it's been a little bit since we've seen it. Mystic, he has an opportunity here. Just needs to try and pinch that. Almost got it past the second one. He was there ready and waiting for it. Didn't quite bounce up high enough to get it right past him. Gale with a brilliant pass towards Mystic. Bounces towards the center. Cookser flying in so quick for that. Pre-jumped so early as well. But Turbo Pulsa, a great redirect. Cookser has to challenge that one and finds itself centered towards the net. So they have to back off a little bit on the play. Yukio does win that, but gets bumped out of the way. Turbo Pulsa has another opportunity to set up Violent Panther for a shot off the crossbar. Turbo with another opportunity. Yukio took his time. Calculated approach on that clear. Goes towards the other end, but another shot whizzing towards their net.
Every time Gale Force puts one of these passing plays together, you think, oh, that's it. Oh, that's another goal. Oh, that should be a goal too. No, every time FlipSid is there to make the save. Their defense is looking much better than it did before, and now is their offense as well?
I'd say it's looking okay. They have a lot more shots this game than the last one. They only had 2 shots last game. That's all they needed. But now they have 4 shots already in this one. And we're seeing so many more. What? That was the goal! It like scooped itself out of that one. We'd need some like slow action replay of that to see what even happened, how close that was. But FlipSid Tactics, they're used to those kind of saves happening. They've done them a few times. They need to have somebody there though for those opportunities when there's only 1 defender left. They haven't been prepared for these rebound opportunities, and Gale Force will gladly save themselves from those chances that FlipSid have been kind of botching. Now Yukio with the demo, baiting out one of the defenders. They need to get this touch here, and there we go. Open net, as you mentioned. Simple as that, but some great solo efforts by Yukio. And that pinch, or that block by Mystic, perfect.
The really aggressive demo, flick over the second, and then the beautiful 50-50 with that Batmobile to open themselves up for that free goal. FlipSid, this is their game to win, and as I say that, KDOP takes one right off the kickoff.
It's also their game to lose as Turbo Pulsa wins that. Mystic is not fast enough, went for a boost instead, and Yukio just feels backflip, man. Was not prepared for that boomer of a shot. to find itself into the back of the net. And now we are equalized or tied up at 1-1. FlipSid Tactics need to get possession of this one. Violet Panda almost gracefully fell into a goal as it was on their side for just a moment. Yukio going to take his time, not going to challenge this one too early, but will make sure they can't get that touch off the backboard. It does get cleared towards the midfield for a moment.
To keep in mind, for any of you just tuning in, this is the second best of 5 that we are seeing between these two teams, as FlipSid has reset the bracket in the grand finals against Gale Force. They're up 2-1 in the series, and with the tied game, FlipSid can simply win it with one more goal. Such a close series so far. This is probably one of the best games of Rocket League, or one of the best series of Rocket League I've seen in quite a long time.
A minute and 20 seconds remaining in this specific one as we see another chance for Mystic to hit that into the corner, trying to put his teammates in a good spot where their shots won't be blocked by the defense, maybe bait them out a little bit towards those corners. Violent Panda gets the touch. It's passed off to Turbo Bosa, who's trying to set up K-Dop. He was not far enough towards the midfield for that one. Another shot coming in. Gets launched towards the corner, and K-Dop has got to just be patiently waiting in net for any challenges. That demo was huge to relieve some pressure on Gale Force's end, and we see an opportunity for Cookster to get that block. Violent Panda is going to go for the challenge there. It goes into the corner. K-Dop will follow this one up, but it drops down, doesn't get the angle. Would have been insane as they are almost able to get the clear.
This is what I love about these long series, is that you see so many changes in gameplay from both of them, shot on net after shot on net. This is Gale Force with the pressure. FlipSid need to be able to find a way to follow up their clear so that Gale Force don't completely crush them. 15 seconds left.
15 seconds, as you mentioned. Mystic is going to be waiting for this one. It drops down in front of him. There's a setup opportunity by K-Dop. They get the clear towards the other end. Yukio does not get the touch there. Cookser will pop that up into the air, trying to prevent that overtime. Cookser hits it off the wall, and it will hit the ground. Overtime has been achieved in this 4th game. 1-1. The last goal, or the next goal that happens, if FlipSid get it, they will be the #1 seed. Gale Force get it, will force Game 5 in the second best of 5 after the bracket reset.
Gale Force have been deadly after these overtimes now, but remember, one of the previous overtimes, FlipSid were able to take it. FlipSid need one more goal. Can they find it here?
K-Dop is going to hit that towards their end. Violent Panda trying to get the double touch, but could not get the perfect connection. That kind of worked out with Yukio and Cookser there with that double commit on the defense. But it is in the side of Gale Force now for the first 40 seconds or so. Mystic will take possession away from Cookser, very dangerously so, but he does get in position for the one. Getting pushed a little bit back and forth by Turbo Posa. They keep it away from their backboard so that Gale Force can't get any of those setups. And a boomer of a shot by Cookser. K-Dop's patiently waiting for that one because doesn't want what happened before to happen again. Some deja vu after it just kind of slid past all the defenders. It goes towards the other end yet again. The touch by Cookser. Yukio has to back off on this play and trust his teammates to rotate back around. The demo by Mystic. Not really going to work out too well, but it is in their side. A great touch by Cookser, and that is it. They get the victory after the bracket reset. Mystic getting the demo, and then not really getting the setup, but Cookser was there in position for that one, and K-Dop just did not have a chance at getting that save. What a victory.
I think we can officially exclaim, even though this has been official for years, Cookser 97, the most clutch player.
Most clutch player.
In the history of Rocket League, if not of all esports. This guy has won so many tournaments, losing early on or losing just versus the #1 team, going through the lower bracket to then face back the #1 team in the EU region to then reset the bracket in the 5th game of their first series and then beat them again.
I'm still processing